And now, Reverend Martin for our message for the day.
I have a friend over on the Gulf Coast who owns and operates a Goodyear tire service center. And she was recently looking to add a part-time employee to her staff. And she told me that one fellow walked in, took a seat, and said, "I'm telling you right up front that unless this job pays at least $18 an hour, I'm not interested. I'm doing fine on unemployment." Well, sometimes it seems as if we're living in a what's in it for me society, where we are eager to receive, but not too excited about giving. There seems to be a sense of entitlement among some people, a sense that society has an obligation to support them. And I've read several articles recently about personnel managers who say that increasingly job applicants are only interested in what they can receive, with very little interest in what they're expected to give. They say that they can barely get out the details and responsibilities of the job because the applicant keeps interrupting with questions about salary, benefits, vacation time, sick leave, etc. They seem not to realize that businesses do not exist to provide vacations, health insurance, or pension plans. Companies exist to make things or to provide services. And they want the best employees they can get, and they're willing to give what they have to in order to get people who will do the job well. But the person who gets ahead in business is the person who spends more time thinking about how well the job can be done rather than whatever benefits he may receive. Well, leaving the world of business behind us, we see that in every area of life, we must give if we are going to receive. We've all heard it is more blessed to give than receive, and looked at from a purely materialistic viewpoint, that doesn't really seem quite right. Most of us would much rather receive than give. But Jesus stated the law of giving and receiving when he said, "Give, and it will be given unto you. Give, and you will receive." Notice he did not say, "After you receive, be sure to give." He was very clear, "Give, and then you will receive." Now, very often in metaphysical New Thought circles, the emphasis is on getting. How to get rich, how to get healthy, how to get a romantic partner, get anything and everything. And often we're told you can have anything you want if you believe. But we sometimes lose sight of the fact that giving and receiving are merely points on the same circle, and one cannot be separated from the other. And although they are both important, giving is better than receiving because giving starts the receiving process. Now, why is this process so important? It's about circulation. Trying to receive without giving is like having a tourniquet tightly fastened around your arm and just leaving it there. The area will eventually wither and die because there's no circulation. And so it is with our spiritual lives. Until we develop a giving consciousness, we will never experience the thrill of divine circulation in our lives. Raymond Charles Barker used to say that everything we call good is the result of circulation, and everything we call bad is the result of congestion. So if you continually give, you will continually have. Now, why should this be? Well, very simply, because life is lived from the inside out, not from the outside in. There's nothing out there that can do us a bit of good unless we're okay in here. Everything out there is elusive. If it's easy come, it's easy go. If you can grab it, so can somebody else. And it can be stolen, it can rot, it can burn to a crisp, it can go bankrupt. If it's out there, it's an effect. On the other hand, what's in here is cause. It is eternal. It can't be taken from us. It can't be lost. It can't go belly up. What is in here is our consciousness, which is the causative power in our world. And it is that part of us which cannot die. And our use of it is always under our complete control. So if we're expecting to receive things from the world, we're at the mercy of the world. Maybe we'll get something, maybe we won't. And if we do get something, we may not like what we get. But if we think about the statement, give and it will be given unto you, then we realize that we are talking about a spiritual law. Then we know that when we give, we're setting that law into motion. And we further know that what we receive from the law will be worth having. After all, the point of living is not to see how much stuff we can pile up. If you've seen one of those hoarder TV shows, you know what happens with that. Eric Fromm said, in the sphere of material things, giving means being rich. Not he who has much is rich, but he who gives is rich. And the hoarder who is anxiously worried about losing something is, psychologically speaking, the poor, impoverished man, regardless of how much he has. Whoever is capable of giving of himself is rich. And so we see that there are, broadly speaking, two main categories of people: the takers and the givers. The takers are all about get, get, get. Their lives are about what they can get from the world. But this is not the way to peace of mind or fulfillment. Jesus memorably put it this way: lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust does corrupt, where the thieves do not break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Lao Tzu said much the same thing when he said, the wise man does not lay up his own treasures. The more he gives to others, the more he has for his own. Givers know that life is a giving process because life is about love, and love is always about giving, never getting. The great calling to humanity is that we love one another, and it is in giving that love that we find our clearest expression of life. It is indeed more blessed to give than receive. And another reason being that wherever your treasure is, there is your heart also. Khalil Gibran said, only by giving are you able to receive more than you already have. A giver is motivated by giving in every area of life: material, spiritual, emotional. And givers are always secure because they know that their good is within, and therefore it is inexhaustible. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale once said, a woman came to me once after a talk on the law of giving and receiving, and she complained that it's not true. She said, I give and I give and I give, and I never get anything back. Well, we talked about it for a moment, and I finally said, you feel that somehow life has cheated you, that you're giving and not receiving. You woke up this morning, didn't you? You have a place to live. You have food to eat. You have nice clothes and a nice car. You take trips to interesting places. It seems to me you're receiving a lot more from life than a lot of people in this world. Now, part of her problem may have been that what she was giving was done selfishly, giving specifically to get instead of giving for the pure joy of giving. It's giving out of love that really energizes the flow of good in our lives. If we're giving strictly to get, then that's not really giving. It's bargaining. It's bartering. As my old friend Don McCart used to say, do you come here on a Sunday morning hoping to get $1 million idea in exchange for a $5 bill in the offering plate? In the Psalms, we find the Lord loves a cheerful giver. In other words, it's not just the gift, but the attitude with which the gift is given. A gift given grudgingly is not really a gift at all. It's just a transfer. So later on this morning, when the offering baskets come around, remember that the Lord loves a cheerful giver, and so do we. But we also accept gifts from grouches. Now, if you think about it, there are only three major things you can do with your money: spend it, save it, which would include investing it, or give it away. Save it, spend it, or give it away. Now, if we spend everything we make, we'll likely end up with a lot of stuff which eventually becomes more of a burden than a blessing. I speak from experience. I have 2 storage units at a rental warehouse, and I'm currently trying to condense everything into 1 unit. It's been a lot of work, and I've got a lot of work yet to do. And a few days ago, as I was moving stuff around, drenched with sweat, a woman walking by commented, "It's a lot of fun to own things until you have to move them." Truer words were never spoken. So spending all your money on stuff can be a trap. On the other hand, trying to save every dime we make is the trap of the miser. He can't enjoy his riches because he's afraid he'll lose them. The first 2 syllables of the word miserable are M-I-S-E-R, miser, miserable. Trying to store our wealth makes as much sense as trying to store our food. It's true that you can't eat your cake and have it too, but if you don't eat the cake, it will eventually spoil and decay, and then it's no good to anyone. So if you don't want to eat it, better give it to someone who will. And it's the same thing with money. Pass it along. Spend some, save some, give some away. Keep it circulating. It's like blood. Blood is a good thing. It is the stuff of life itself when it is circulating. When it stops circulating, it turns to poison. Life is all about flow. The word currency comes from the Latin currere, which means to flow. And when we give our money, we're keeping up the circulation of prosperity in our lives. So don't hoard it, give it away. Occasionally, I'm asked about tithing. Now, tithing is an ancient practice. It predates Christianity as well as Judaism. And what it basically means in its original root form is giving 10% to the place where you're spiritually fed or spiritually nourished. Why 10%? Probably because that was easy to calculate. 10%. Can that ever repay the fact that you woke up this morning, that you have a place to live, that you have food to eat, that when you cut yourself, you don't bleed to death or die of an infection because Spirit takes care of the healing. That you're constantly being offered all the good that you're willing and able to accept. 10%. The government takes between 20 and 50%, depending on your income. And a huge percentage of what you get in exchange for that is utterly worthless. Now, I know a Science of Mind minister in California who has a unique take on tithing. She doesn't give 10% of what she earns. She gives 10% of what she wants to earn. And she says it's worked wonders in her life. Regardless, a bit of experimentation will show that tithing is a growth process. In the words of Thornton Wilder, money is like manure. It's not worth a thing unless it's spread around, encouraging things to grow. Give and receive. Give money if you want money. Give love if you want love. Give acceptance if you want acceptance. The secret to being successful in all areas of your life is to keep that flow of good circulating. And when it comes to giving and receiving, we sometimes don't really take a very deep look at what that means. We receive so very much that we take for granted. Here are just 5 simple things, 5 gifts from Spirit that you can be grateful for and receive today. Number 1, your breath. It's one of those things we take for granted. The air that gives us life. We don't even need to think about breathing. We just do it automatically. And clearly we can appreciate that our breath sustains us, but it can do so much more. When we focus on breathing deeply, it can ground us, calm us, detoxify us, and even heal us. Breathe in. Breathe out. Fully inhabit your body. You're here. You're alive. Second gift, your freedom. Our greatest gift may be our freedom. We can choose what we do today. We can choose what to think, where to go, who we surround ourselves with, and whether or not we allow ourselves to appreciate and enjoy what's right in front of us. It's not a question of whether we have freedom. The question is, how will we use it? 3, your senses. A brisk ocean breeze can make you feel alert and alive. The feel of silk or velvet against your skin. The taste of your favorite food. The sound of your favorite song. The smell of a warm pie, which evokes happy childhood memories. We have the capacity to perceive and feel so much. Fully experience all of it. Let yourself breathe it in and see it and hear it and taste it and smell it and touch it and live it. 4th, opportunities for connection. Whether we spend the day with family, friends, or acquaintances, we all have the opportunity to really connect with the people in our lives. We can open up, invite them to do the same, and remind each other that we are part of something greater than ourselves. And 5th, we can be grateful for and experience and receive the wonderful lessons for growth. Every day has a lesson that can help us to go forward. If we're self-aware and open, we can learn about ourselves, who we want to be, how we want to live, and what we need to do to facilitate all that. Whether it's a laid-back, relaxing day or a challenging, stressful day, there's something in that experience that will guide you on your journey ahead. And there's something in every person you meet that can enrich your life. I once heard it said that every person I meet knows something I don't know. The people around me constitute the greatest free university imaginable. Well, how about what we give? It's not just about money or things. There's an old Arab proverb that says, if you have much, give of your wealth. If you have little, give of your heart. And it's so easy to think, when I get ahead a little bit, I'll start giving. But as we mentioned, it's the act of giving that triggers the gift of receiving. And if you have no money, that is no excuse not to give. You can give of yourself. You can give of your time. You can give of your love. As the Apostle Peter said, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have, I give to you. And sometimes what we may think of as being little bitty things may be by far the most important. So here are 5 gifts you can give today. Number 1, your attention. People complain about being lonely when they're surrounded by people every day. Unless you live way out in the wilderness, miles away from your nearest neighbor, how could you possibly be lonely? It's not a lack of people in our lives, but a lack of attention that leads to that empty feeling of loneliness. One of the greatest gifts you can give anyone is the gift of your attention. It's so easy to come into contact with people, cashiers, mail carriers, waiters, without giving them any real attention, without treating them as the brothers and sisters that they are. Pay attention to the people who are part of your life. They are truly one with you, and you are one with them. And when you give them your attention, you are doing your part to promote a namaste consciousness in your world. Second thing you can give is closely related, your appreciation. No one wants to be taken for granted. Everyone enjoys compliments. You'll never know how much good you may do by simply expressing your appreciation for others. The nice thing that you have to say to one of your fellow travelers may be the one bright spot in an otherwise horrendous day. Third thing, your acceptance. Think back to when you were in high school. Chances are you spent an awful lot of time wondering if you were popular, wondering if you could ever be part of the in crowd, worried that you were not really fitting in. As we get older, we tend to get past that, but I think we still want to be accepted for who we really are. It's exhausting to be someone we're not. So much nicer if we can just relax and be ourselves. The law of giving and receiving says that when we accept others for who they are, they will tend to accept us for who we are. So treat yourself by treating people the way you want to be treated. Fourth gift we can give today, your forgiveness. Forgiveness tends to be the 800-pound gorilla in our teaching. Oh, we can get all excited about prosperity and blessings and love, but forgiveness, that's hard. But we know that by practicing forgiveness, we are freeing ourselves of resentment and hate, and we're opening the channels for good in our lives. Unless we forgive, we cannot hope to be forgiven. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And the fifth thing that you can give today is your light. There used to be a character in a comic strip who always had a black cloud hovering above his head. No matter where he went, the black cloud followed. And from time to time, that black cloud seems to be above our heads. When our friends and family members complain and engage in an orgy of negativity and hand-wringing, do we support their point of view by joining in the pity party? Or do we make an attempt to shine some light on the situation? Well, somewhere deep down, underneath all our fears, our insecurities, our hurts, we each have a light. We are all worthy, beautiful, and valuable to the world around us. Believe that and then act upon it by doing something from your heart. And of course, when you give your light, even more light will become available to you, because the universe operates through a law of dynamic exchange. Giving and receiving are indeed different aspects of the flow of energy in the universe. And in our willingness to give that which we seek, we keep the abundance of the universe circulating in our lives. So let's break it down right now into 3 very simple action steps. We can put the law of giving and receiving in effect today by making a simple commitment to these 3 steps. Number 1, wherever I go and whomever I encounter, I will bring them a gift. The gift may be a compliment, a flower, a prayer, but today I will give something to everyone I encounter. And so I will begin the process of circulating joy, wealth, and affluence in my life and in the lives of others. Secondly, today I will gratefully receive all the gifts that life is always offering me. I will receive the gifts of nature, sunlight, the sound of birds singing, rain showers, or the first rose of the season. I will be open to receiving from others, whether it be in the form of a material gift, money, a compliment, or a prayer. And third, I will make a commitment to keep wealth circulating in my life by giving and receiving life's most precious gifts, the gifts of caring, affection, appreciation, and love. Each time I meet someone, I will silently wish them happiness, joy, and laughter. If I can do something to make that wish come true, I'll do it. And if we do that daily, we'll receive blessings daily. The more we give, the more we get. Here's the rest of the Jesus quote around this topic. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. It's the giving that does it. My great-grandfather had a small farm in southern Indiana, and their only water came from a deep well. And there was a hand pump in the yard and another hand pump in the kitchen. And occasionally, when they tried to get water, nothing would come out. So they did something called priming the pump. They poured some water into the pump, and that started the flow. They had to give water to the pump before they could receive water from the well. It's all about giving. Give, and it shall be given to you. It's the giving that primes the pump of receiving. The wonderful Unity minister, Eric Butterworth, had this commentary on giving and receiving in times of difficulty. He wrote, "If ever there is a lack of any kind, whether it is a need for employment or for money or for guidance or even for healing, something is blocking the flow. And the most effective remedy? Give." Now you may be thinking, but I need to receive. My hands are empty. I need someone to give to me. But you see, under the law of giving, when things get tight, something's got to give. Look for some way to start the giving flow. Get busy giving and then get ready for the deluge of receiving. Giving is the best program ever devised for prosperity and well-being of every kind. It is the inexhaustible system of life and love from an inexhaustible universe. We're all one, so it makes sense that when we give to anyone, we're really giving to ourselves. It's been said that giving does not exhaust your resources. At the deepest level, there is no giver, no gift, no receiver, only the universe rearranging itself. What energy you give will come back to you in an amazing way. Eckhart Tolle wrote, "Whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you are withholding from the world. Whatever you think people are withholding from you, praise, appreciation, assistance, loving care, and so on, give it to them. You cannot receive what you don't give. Outflow determines inflow. Give, and do so cheerfully and freely. It is the energy behind giving that matters, so do not give grudgingly. The law of cause and effect guarantees that you will receive plenty for what you give. Good measure, pressed down, flowing over. Life is giving, and giving is life. And so it is."